Absolutely,
And
no doubt.
nothing says don't come for the video game like actually checking out NFL this year. Connor, I think we were kickers this weekend because there were 13 missed kicks on Sunday through the entire NFL. The
Yeah,
most I
there
think
was
ever in a
some
given Sunday.
suspect kicking, that's for sure.
And normally we've been the ones to own the suspect kicking in our show, but to see it happen through the whole entire league, do you think that's just a coincidence, or do you feel like that's just too much to be called a coincidence?
You know, it's some weeks you have some bad kicking. I think that between some weather and some games and things like that, uh, nothing's automatic. I mean, even when they took the PAT back, back to the 15-yard line as opposed to the 3-yard line, nothing is automatic, and that is something to you never take for granted a good solid kicker. I was actually thinking about this not too long ago. It just kind of feels like you either have, the Mason Crosby, the guy who never misses. I mean, it's very rare when he misses, or it's kind of a turnstile situation at kicker. And I think that maybe we just kind of hopped into one of those really tough kicking weekends for everybody. But one team that hasn't necessarily needed to use their kicker a ton, or even when they has seemed to convert pretty well, is the Arizona Cardinals. Rutledge, they are 5-0, and the only undefeated team left in the NFL.
They definitely are 5-0 on what it seems to be turning the corner. Kyler Murray this past weekend was 22 for 31 with 239 yards and a touchdown. So that is amazing. His main target, of course, is DeAndre Hopkins, who had 87 yards over 6 receptions and a touchdown. So I know that you've been more on the Cardinals train than I have, but I've been very impressed to see that this team is 5-0, and they're not, with so many things going on in today's league, and we won't touch on all of the big distractions that are going around this year in the NFL, but a lot of the storylines have been about rookie quarterbacks and coaching changes and sort of highlight teams in the AFC. To see this NFC West team, which is in a division of so much other news going on, really take it to 5-0 has been actually very impressive.
Very much so, yeah. They the Rams were kind of the class of the NFC West, and the Cardinals took it to the Rams. It's I think that the kind of the big thing that we saw last year was that, okay, these guys are going to be able to score. Just like this Mexican side on me. Good night. That's 3 goals in pretty quick succession. But being able to watch this team really put it together on the defensive side. Adding J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones continuing to play really well, I think is making Arizona really be that good quality team that we knew that they could be. So very excited to continue to watch them. I think, I was probably 1 year early on the Cardinals, as that was one of my dark horse teams last year, but really fun to get to watch them put it together, and kind of fun to see Cliff Kingsbury, even though he got fired from the collegiate side of things, really do awesome in the NFL. And I think that speaks to just right situation, right time, and being able to do that well. So, those are some interesting thoughts here on the NFC. And Rutledge, the other team that I've been very hot on that you're actually starting to sell as we switch over to the AFC as this debacle finishes out, is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I am. I'm not abandoning full ship of the Kansas City Chiefs, but they are slowly showing that yes, they are good, but I think the rest of the world is starting to balance around them. If we give an example of how Buffalo looked against Kansas City, Josh Allen very much had his way. Now, Patrick Mahomes said he did throw some interceptions, which is true, but this makes you kind of think of Andy Reid of old in Philadelphia. He has a weird bell curve with his teams where they will peak and then they will slowly start to fall. Let's not forget, Andy Reid did get fired from taking the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl, which over time eventually they were pretty tough to watch. So, plus they also got rid of Donovan McNabb, who finished his career in the football team. So it's interesting to see that the The Chiefs are kind of on the down. I know it makes us happy because our BFF Justin Herbert and his Los Angeles Chargers are 4-1 leading that division, while the Chiefs are 2-3. They are worst in the AFC West. I sent Connor, I sent you a good picture of our viewers. It was a picture of small Master Splinter bringing along 3 turtles, and then now it's big old Master Splinter, and the 3 turtles are Las Vegas, Denver, and Los Angeles. Of course, Master Splinter was Kansas City. So I think the path to the playoffs this year, while it's not through the AFC West as it was in years past, I think it's very much shifted that division has gotten better, and it's not as easy of a march for them to go. Plus, Patrick Mahomes is starting to become not seasoned, but he's not as magical to watch. It's sort of starting to normalize.
Yeah, he's making some mistakes with the ball, and I think we're seeing some issues there. Division's gotten really good is the AFC North. No longer is it just a 2-team race; it's really a 3-team race with Pittsburgh seemingly being the team that will probably end up being on the outs there, as Big Ben continues to be a big old albatross around the neck of those Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, you got to think Cleveland has been doing great. Baltimore had an incredible comeback win last night against the Colts, and then of course Cincinnati with a healthy Joe Burrow is starting to look better. I want to sort of show that this division scores points because all 3 teams, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, their point scores are at least a minimum of 114 or higher. So they're all definitely putting the points on the board. They have some of the middle to run points allowed, so they're letting people score on them, but still they're doing overall pretty well. So this division is going to be kind of the slobber-knocker that it normally is. I think in the AFC team you need to watch that is going to have their easiest sort of coast to a playoff spot is, and this is sad to say because they looked so good last year, but I think they're going to slot into it, is in my opinion the Tennessee Titans. You think this team's in the AFC South, worst division, probably in my opinion, the worst division in football, and they are sitting at a 3-2 record. So I think they have an easy cruise to get through to hop on the back of that train for Derrick Henry, the Henry Express, but I don't see them being a dominant factor later in the season.
No doubt. Yeah, I think Tennessee could make some points as it relates to the division, but that's not exactly a high bar. So, and neither was my Team USA side being a high bar here. 5-0. Now I'll turn down the difficulty next game just to kind of help myself out a little bit, but definitely looking forward to continuing our really fun sports conversations here, Rutledge. So